Chama, ayy. Queen Chama, Queen Chama, Queen Chama, ayy. She the one that always stay poppin', ayy. Flow crazy and it got my head bobbin', ayy. My nose up till you joints lookin' snotty, ayy. Brown skin cascade down my body, ayy.
So hey y'all, I'm back with another video. So tonight's video is yet again another Chioma Chats video podcast edition. So by the title, we're going to be talking about Ice Spice, Sexyy Red, and this growing fatigue around celebrities constantly bearing it all online, and why I feel like people are reacting to it, but they're not even being honest about what they're reacting to. The reason I wanted to talk about this is because recently Ice Spice posted these pictures of herself in underwear talking about I'm the birthday cake, to Sexyy Red continuing to post videos of herself doing what she normally does, and the internet doing what it always does, which is splitting into two groups. One side is calling it out, saying it's too much, saying it feels unnecessary, and then the other side immediately jumps in with, oh, now y'all mad because she's natural. Y'all complain about BBLs, but now you mad at real bodies. And I'm not gonna lie, that response is what irritates me the most, okay? Arthur Fist. Because it feels like people are being very intentionally ignorant about what's actually going on here. And a lot of these conversations get turned into something surface level where you can't even talk about the real issue anymore. So I've broken this video down into 3 main talking points. So without further ado, let's get right into this video. Hi everyone, it's Queen Chioma and I have something to share with you today. In Nigeria, over 37 million women and girls experience period poverty, meaning they lack access to basic menstrual products. So because of this, thousands of girls miss school every month or are forced to use unsafe alternatives like tissue, newspapers, or even leaves. So in some communities, girls are even pressured into sex for pads simply to manage their periods. This is why I am partnering with Glow Care Foundation during Menstrual Hygiene Day this May to provide sustainable sanitary kits to thousands of girls in Imo State, Nigeria. These kits will help girls stay in school, protect their health, and preserve their dignity. If you are able, please consider donating to support this mission. Every contribution helps keep a girl in school. Thank you in advance for helping us make a difference. Signed, Queen Chioma. So starting off with point number 1, people are pretending not to understand the issue. So first, let's actually talk about the way people are responding to this. I mean, the woeful ignorance is crazy. I don't know if it's gaslighting. Do y'all feel gaslit by the internet? Because I always do, even in my own comments. Oop. No shade. But this is what made me want to speak on it in the first place. A lot of the comments I've been seeing are acting like the only reason someone would critique these posts is because they hate natural bodies or they're jealous. And of course, I don't agree with that at all. Nobody is confused about what a natural body looks like. Can we be real? I know we live online, but nobody is shocked by cellulite, texture, or weight fluctuation. That's normal because we see it every day and most of us have it. That's the real tea. What people are reacting to is the intention behind what is posted, which you would think is common sense, but I think that's the part that a lot of people don't like saying out loud because you have to acknowledge that some of it is very calculated. Ice Spice knew exactly what she was doing when she posted that, and so did Sexyy Red when she posted her videos. Even Carisha, Young Miami, I saw a video that she posted to promote her newest song. It's like, these are not random moments. These are people who understand the internet and understand what gets attention. And when you actually look at the comments, you can see how divided people are, but also how a lot of people are missing the point. You have comments like, we love a natural body, girly, which, you know, I get it. Like, we do love a natural body, but do y'all really? Because y'all only like natural bodies when it's of a certain aesthetic. But hey, no shade. Y'all made plastic the norm and that's not okay, which I do kind of agree with, because when people see enhanced bodies, all of a sudden it's goals and they're looking for a way to either drink these flat tummy teas and basically boo-boo your butthole out just to get to a certain aesthetic that is literally, they paid for it. And then on the other side, you have people saying, oh baby, you don't have to do this, which they really don't have to do this. But sometimes I feel like maybe they do have to do this because this is all they got. But I'm gonna get to that point. Another person even said some pics should be left in the camera roll. And it's like, yeah, you know, I'm not saying that you can't take sexy pictures and have all these risque photos. Who would I be? I'd be a hypocrite. I know it's in my phone, but some of it stays in the camera roll. There was even someone who said, y'all complain when she's skinny, complain when she's thick. What do y'all want from this girl? And it's like, that's not even what people are saying. And that's exactly my issue, because this does bring up a pretty good point. People are choosing to interpret this in the most surface level way possible so they don't have to engage with the actual conversation. Scary tale self. Because even when someone says something as simple as, this feels like it's too much, it immediately gets flipped into, you hate natural bodies, you're jealous, and that's not it. You can acknowledge that someone has a natural body and still question why they chose to present it in that specific way, right? You can be happy that someone is in a better place physically and mentally because we know what Ice Spice went through, and still feel like the post itself is unnecessary. And I think people need to stop acting like those thoughts can't exist at the same time. The conversation is always getting watered down. Now, moving on to point number 2, the fatigue comes from a lack of evolution. Now, this is where I want to get into where the real fatigue is coming from, because I don't think it's just about the posts themselves. I've already said this before, that a lot of female artists lead with sex appeal, duh, right? So I'm not even going to sit here and drag that point out again, but what I'm noticing is a pattern where when the music isn't hitting the same or the buzz starts to slow down, the content starts to get louder and more attention seeking. You start seeing more posts like this, more moments that feel like they're meant to go viral, and after a while it starts to feel repetitive. Like, I feel like it's intentional, like you knew what you were doing, you was trying to go viral, both of y'all, okay? And when something feels repetitive in this way, people naturally start to get tired of it, even if they don't say it directly. And to bring it back to Ice Spice specifically, she has gone through different phases since she's been in the spotlight. There was a point where she got really thin and even alluded to being depressed, and now she's clearly gained weight again and is back to being thicker, which she's even referenced in her music. So part of her posting that could be to show that she's really in a better place, and I actually understand that because I've been in a situation where my body changed based on what I was going through mentally. Y'all know I am 6 foot tall, and at one point I was like 150, 160, and I was skinny with a big old lollipop head. I'm not gonna lie. So I know what it feels like to come out of a phase like that and feel like you're back to yourself. But at the same time, that doesn't change the way it's being presented. When the main thing people are seeing from you starts to revolve around shock value or trying to go viral and we could pick it up, of course, people are gonna question what else is there? Like, what's happening? And I told y'all this was gonna happen, right? I told y'all this was gonna happen with artists like this, where they come in strong, they rely heavily on a certain image or persona, and then over time, if there's no real evolution, the audience starts to lose interest. But I was called a hater though. I was called a hater for this. But I told y'all, it doesn't mean that these ladies don't have a fan base. It doesn't mean that they won't still get streams or features. Of course they will, but it does mean the impact is just not the same. When that impact starts to drop, that's when you see more of these moments that feel like they're trying to get people talking again. And after a while, we definitely catch on to the pattern. Now, moving on to my third and final point, being a girl's girl does not mean ignoring everything. I feel like I could do a whole video about this. I feel like people don't want to have an honest conversation about this because it challenges how a lot of people define being a girl's girl. I think I should do a whole video on this girl's girl thing. Somewhere along the line, it turned into this idea that you have to support everything another woman does no matter what. And if you don't, then you're a hater, and I'll just never agree with that. If you genuinely want to see the betterment of women, you should be able to look at certain things and say, this might not be the best look, without it turning into this whole thing about jealousy or insecurity. The second a woman has an opinion, it's, oh, you're mad, you're bitter. And it's like, no, people are just being honest. At the end of the day, yes, people have the freedom to post whatever they want. Nobody is arguing that. But people also have the right to look at it and feel like it's distasteful. However, I do think there are instances when people don't know how to have a balanced take and they just go to the extremes. So I came across this clip of Carlisa, Blueface's mom, speaking on Ice Spice. And I'm not gonna lie, but listen to what she had to say about this.
Why y'all over there lying to Ice Spice, talking about she look good like that? Now y'all know damn well she need to tighten that up. It's too jiggly, too wiggly, and too loose for her to be that young. One baby and she gonna be out of socket. Y'all done told Ice Spice it look good, girl. Just a little cellulite. Talking about that look real. That girl is too young for all of that wagon to be dragging like that. And y'all know it too. One baby and she gonna look like the trailer park. One baby is all it takes, and you will not be making a comeback, okay? You ain't supposed to have that much cellulite till you get about, what, 40, 45? 45. That booty look like my grandma booty. Y'all over there lying to that baby. Tell her she gotta get back in there and tighten some of that up. And we don't want to see it no more till she do it. Now, if you just want your wagon to be dragging, that's fine. But if you gonna let your wagon come out and let people see it, it got to look how mine was looking. Y'all seen my wagon, so I got room to talk. It ain't supposed to be dragging like that. Okay? Jaden booty is not dragging and she ain't got no cellulite. Y'all over there talking about it look natural. Real cellulite. Cellulite is for 40 and over. 40 and over. You got cellulite now, bitch. Get it together. We don't want to see that shit. I thought it was AI. I said, oh no, that is not Ice Spice. I thought that was an AI booty. Jaden booty look good, and you ain't seen Jaden booty with no clothes on. Jaden booty look good. I'd rather it look fake. I'd rather it look fake than cellulite. Okay, cellulite look like it stank. You ain't supposed to have that till you get 40, 45. We ain't hurting nobody's feelings. We telling that baby the truth. Because y'all gonna fuck around and let her get bigger and bigger next year talking about it look good. And then she gonna have a baby and then she gonna be done and she gonna be mad at y'all. Not me. She ain't gonna be mad at me because she gonna say, auntie told me to get up on that Stairmaster because this wagon, honey, is dragging.
Okay, so that is what Carlisa had to say, and I'm sorry, she is delusional. Okay, that was a lot. I do find her entertaining at times, but at the same time, this is exactly what I mean when I say people don't know how to have these conversations properly, because now you've gone from a normal discussion about presentation and intention, and you've turned it into straight up body shaming. The same way people try to get on Sherry Shepherd when she spoke on Megan Thee Stallion's outfit like sometime last year, and people try to say she was a hater, even though she said it very, very respectfully. There's a difference. Carlisa, this is not how you do it. But I'll separate myself from takes like Carlisa's because I don't agree with shaming Ice Spice for having cellulite. That's normal, especially for women. And the idea that you're only supposed to have cellulite at 40 years old or 45 years old is just not rooted in like real reality. However, I do think Carlisa is a product of her generation, and that's something people don't also talk about. Women from that era grew up in a time where being anything other than skinny was a problem. When you think about early 2000s beauty standards, girls were getting called fat for things that we would not even blink at today. So a lot of the way she's speaking comes from that mindset, even though the delivery is completely off. And I'm Nigerian, so I'm very familiar with this type of commentary. The aunties will tell you in a heartbeat that you've gained weight, and they don't care how it comes off. They're just going to say it. And now that we're older, we push back on it more, but at the same time, I'm not gonna lie, there were moments where I probably should have taken certain advice more seriously. It just wasn't given in a way that people could actually receive it. And I think that's the only small part where I can kind of understand where Carlisa's getting at, because she's not wrong about how women's bodies change over time. Once you start getting older, once you start having kids, your metabolism slows down, your body holds onto weight differently, and it becomes harder to maintain certain things if you're not actively working on it. Ice Spice is 25, she's in her mid-20s, and right now she has what people consider an acceptable thick body. But I do agree that if she were to gain significantly more weight in the future, the same people praising her right now would switch up, because we've seen that happen before. And I think about examples like Pinky, the adult film star, I know that's kind of crazy, but hey, who people used to hype up for having a similar body type, and over time, as she got older and gained more weight, the conversation definitely went left on how people look at her. But the reality is, this is how bodies work. So I can acknowledge that part without agreeing with the way Carlisa said it, because the delivery was just disrespectful, flat out. But even with all that being said, it still doesn't take away from the original point. Posting yourself like that in that context, knowing the reaction it's going to get, still comes across as attention seeking to a lot of people. And that's where the fatigue is coming from more than anything. There are a lot of women that find stuff like this distasteful, and it does not make them a hater or not a girl's girl. And I'm just gonna be honest, everything is not empowerment. I'm sorry y'all, but not everything's empowerment. I even had to grow up and learn this myself. There are some things that are just attention seeking, and people are allowed to recognize that without it turning into this whole moral debate. People just don't say these things because they don't want to deal with the backlash that comes with it and someone saying that you're a pick-me or you're not a girl's girl. Even when you look at some of the comments supporting it, a lot of them are rooted in comparison, like, well, at least she's natural, or at least she's not plastic. And it's like, okay, but that still doesn't address what's actually being posted. And does that make you a girl's girl for saying that someone is natural versus not? Like, you know, it's kind of up in the air. You can prefer natural bodies and still question the presentation. You can support women and still have standards. And I think that's the part people are uncomfortable with, because it requires you to think a little bit deeper instead of just picking a side and defending it no matter what. And to bring it back to the whole girls thing, being a girl's girl does not mean you turn your brain off and agree with everything. Okay, ladies, have a brain. It means you're able to recognize when something isn't the best look, and that is the balance that people are missing right now. The conversation keeps swinging from one extreme to the other instead of just calling things what they are and moving on. So just my closing thoughts. At the end of the day, I don't think this conversation is about natural bodies versus plastic bodies, even though that's what people keep trying to turn it into. And it's definitely not beating the dead horse about what we see in female rappers. At this point, we know, right? We know. But I feel like it feels more like people are tired of seeing the same type of content over and over again and feeling like there's nothing new being added. When something is clearly done with the intention of getting attention, it just doesn't hit the same. Like, we could read through through it. And I feel like the girls need to go back to the drawing board and come up with something else. Like, how do you have all this fame, this platform, maybe this money, and like you just have no creativity on something else to do? It doesn't hit the same way it used to because people can see right through it now. Also, I think people are starting to realize that just because you can do something doesn't mean people have to receive it positively. This is simply about looking at what's being put out, calling it what it is, and having a conversation about it. And I think a lot of people feel the same way. They're just not that bold. Maybe I'm too bold, right? Am I too bold? I don't know. But hey, I deal with a lot of backlash that comes with it, and some people just not cut out to do that. If we're being honest, this reaction didn't come out of nowhere. It's just been building over time, and I just think it's more visible. So that is it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed. Please let me know your commentary on my commentary down below. What do you think? What do you know? Let me know. Also, thank you to everyone that has donated to my fundraiser for period insecurity in Nigeria. I will be in Nigeria next month speaking at 2 high schools to advocate for girls to have menstrual products readily available for them. The link is pinned down below as well as the description box. I know a lot of people said the one in the description box does not work right. For some reason, it just keeps taking it to the homepage. But use the pinned comment. We are so close to hitting our final goal. Thank you to everyone that has donated thus far. And last but not least, as always, don't forget to follow me on all of my social media networks, and I will see y'all in my next video. Bye, y'all.
And I loved you, but I don't need you. And you thought that I would never ever leave you. I'm on my own now, so it's up now. And you know I don't really give a fuck now. And I was wrong too, cause I ain't perfect. But hurting me, you know it wasn't worth it. And you don't care that you really harmed me. But the least you could've done was say sorry. How you think I felt when I kept getting texts from a shorty you kept talking to who said she was your ex? And how you think I felt when I found out all your lies? You had no empathy, even though you saw me crying. How you think I felt when I realized I got played? I should've left you sooner and I should've never stayed. And how you think I felt when my heart was really hurt? That shit I did was petty, but you got what you deserve. I didn't like you when I met you, thought you was nothing special. But I fell for you, end up being detrimental. This is why they say loving yourself is fundamental. Cause a nigga leave you feeling worthless, mess up all your mental. To others he was tough, but I saw him as gentle. Neck tattoo, laying loaded like a pencil. And I loved you, but I don't need you. And you thought that I would never ever leave you. I'm on my own now, so it's up now. And you know I don't really give a fuck now. And I was wrong too, cause I ain't perfect. But hurting me, you know it wasn't worth it. And you don't care that you really harmed me. But the least you could've done was say sorry.